everybody. Looks like we got a pretty good crowd started. We got 15 people in here. Don't know if all those people will stay, but that's a good start. Hey, Rooster. Hey, the Poet. Hey, Blissful. Hey, Darren. Gory Tiger. Hey. Um, well, thank you, Rooster. Rooster says Dana did good on the Italian Holocaust show. Um, let's see. Just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Um, okay. I think I said hey to everybody. Um, so we got a pretty packed show tonight as far as content, or I hope it is anyway. So I do have a couple of things to talk about for the Daily Grindhouse. Um, you guys are going to finally get to see those Friday the 13th clips of Steve from way back when. But just a note before I get that started. Steve advised me that I shouldn't play the audio during one part of it because there is ZZ Top music playing in the background. And he said, I don't want your stream to get cut off. I said, okay, well, I know where that part's at, so I'll just mute it during the part where the ZZ Top music is playing. Now, Steve is saying some things, but I'm not saying what my husband says isn't important. But during that part of it, he's just mainly just playing around and posing and stuff like that. So, and like taking the video camera around his room and all that. Um, so, just bear with me while I mute that part. And if even with it muted, if at any point in time while I'm showing these clips, if the stream stops, somebody please let me know in the chat so I can just cut it off. I will play it as long as I can. I don't know if Paramount's going to have a problem with Friday the 13th. I mean, they're very short clips and they're on a TV, but, Paramount was a butt about My Bloody Valentine. I wasn't even showing the whole movie. So, but Steve did tell me to be wary of the ZZ Top music. So, anyway, we'll get to that here in a little bit. That was a good call on his part because if he hadn't said something, I might have just played it straight through because there's not really that much of the song, but you never know. So yeah, I did I did consider that a good call on his part. So let me go ahead and let you guys know what I've got coming up that I know of. Now I did talk to TJ and he wants to wait another week before we start the Friday the 13th, the series episode breakdown. So I told him that was fine with me. So, I always say this and invariably I end up doing something most of the week. But I don't know about Wednesday night. I may surprise y'all. I don't have anything planned right now. I believe, what is it, Thursday? Is it Thursday? I think that the Dead Pit Boys are going to be doing I guess it's the Severance sale. Garrett will probably be on there with them, I would imagine. I don't know if Steve is going to or not. Probably not, because he'll probably have to get his sleep. So, I don't know about Wednesday or Thursday at this point. Friday, I usually take Fridays off. And then Saturday and Sunday, let's see, July 1st, the watch along will be for the original Town That Dreaded Sundown. Again, Steve has told me that he will probably be on this with me. However, that remains to be seen. That depends on how much sleep Steve needs over the weekend. July 2nd will be Slumber Party Massacre 2. That one was suggested by TJ. July 8th will be Superstition. July 9th will be Summer School. And Darren, I do believe, did you tell me that you wanted to be on the Superstition watch along? Because that's what I was thinking, but I just wanted to double check. July 9th, Summer School. July 15th, Scream. And this is the 1990 Scream, not that horrible 1980s Scream that's so boring. July 16th will be Sleepaway Camp. July 22nd, Jaws 2. July 23rd, Say Anything, which is a great John Cusack movie. July 29th will be Sleepaway Camp 2, and July 30th will be Sleepaway Camp 3. Now, on into August. The first weekend in August will be my first ever two-part watch-along. This is going to be for Stephen King's Salem's Lot, directed by Tobe Hooper. So August 5th will be Salem's Lot Part 1, and August 6th will be Salem's Lot Part 2. August 12th will be a movie that many people consider to be a horrible, horrible movie, and that's Terror on Tour, and will be followed on Sunday, August 13th, with a music movie that a lot of people champion, Almost Famous. Oh, that's right, Darren. Yeah, I keep forgetting that. I don't mean to forget. If you can, that's great. If not, that's fine. Um, I just totally forget about that. I always forget about Saturdays. I don't know why. Um, August 19th, Pet Cemetery. August 20th, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. August 26th, Carrie. And August 27th will be Mystic Pizza. Okay. Thank you, Blissful. Blissful says, please hit the thumbs up and thank you. Gory Tiger, you said there's a UFO in the first Jaws movie? Oh, wow. You'll have to let me know where that is. I'd like to go check that out. Okay. So we'll go ahead and kick this daily grindhouse off. I'm going to show a couple of things that I got in today. And then we're going to move into the Steve Friday the 13th clips from years past. And then we're going to get into the 5 movies for the summer camp slashers. Blissful, you say Mystic Pizza is one of your top 5 favorites. Well, in addition to that, I found out that there are actual frozen Mystic pizzas that you can get at Whole Foods. And so or through the day rather, I'm going to try to obtain one of those from the Whole Foods here in Louisville, so that I can have a piece or two during the Mystic Pizza watch along. Gory Tiger, you say it doesn't mean it's alien. Okay, gotcha. Um, so let's go ahead and kick off the intro of the Daily Grindhouse. And here we go. All right. So, Blissful, I will definitely let you guys know how it tastes. I don't know how many of you guys have Whole Foods near you, but that was basically the only place here in Louisville that I could figure out a place to get those pizzas. So I got a couple of 4Ks in today. And the first one is Creep Show. Again, I haven't had a chance to watch these guys. I got these in when I was working. So I just basically went out and got the packages in. but haven't had a chance to watch them. So I'll have to let you guys know how the transfer looks for both of these movies. Um, of course, this does have the 4K with audio commentary, and it also has the Blu-ray that has all the stuff, I believe, that was from the other Scream Factory Blu-ray as well, including Sean Clark's Horror's Hallowed Grounds for Creepshow. So you don't have a Whole Foods near you, Bliss? Well, that's a shame. So the next one is the 4K of Motel Hell. And I'm really looking forward to this one. I mean, this movie looked okay. I'm not expecting it to look like absolutely fantastic, but I did want to get a hold of a copy of the 4K when it came out. Again, haven't had a chance to watch it. I have to get back with you guys on the transfer. And this is another Screen Factory release, and it does have both the 4K and the Blu-ray, which I'm sure the Blu-ray has all the stuff ported over from the other Blu-ray. Um, I mean, essentially, it's probably the same Blu-ray. So, yeah, I'll get back with you guys on the how the transfers look for both of these movies just as soon as I can take a gander at them. All right. So, now we're going to get to the clips, these historic clips of Steve. He was working for Walmart at the time, and he took like a week off or something like that. And he spent part of that week watching all the Friday the 13th up until Friday the 13th. Jason takes Friday 13th part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. Okay, and he did little inserts where he talked in between, and Steve did a new intro to these clips, and then he and I put together a commentary with Friday 13th part 5. And actually, I can probably show that here. Hold on just a second, guys. I should have left it out. Actually, at the discount. And I don't know if I showed this before, but for the benefit of those of you that never got to see this, we put together several of these special edition Friday 13th Part 5 and New Beginning commentaries. That is actually a picture of Steve from way back when he did these clips. And you see he's got the hockey mask and the machete. And I created these pretty much. Steve did the intro for the clips. And then I basically put all the stuff together, burned it to a disc, did these pictures and all of that. So if you flip it over on the back, there's another picture of Steve just kind of playing around. And this was a Euro cult and seductive poison mashup kind of thing, because I was doing seductive poison at the time. Steve was doing Euro cult. So when we started dating and started doing these commentaries periodically, we would a lot of times say they were Euro cult and seductive poison collaboration or whatever. You like that cover, Darren? Yeah, I think I did this with Photoshop, and actually, there'd be no way we'd be able to sell these because it actually has the cover art for Friday 13th Part 5, but then I just put Steve in the foreground there and like tried to blend it in as well as I could with using Photoshop. So the back also has funny quotes that I took from each one of us when we were doing the commentary, for instance, the part where Steve said, "Did I miss Deborah Sue Voorhees?" And I said, "You'll see her boobs later, don't worry." And he's like, "I want to see her name." Um, and you know, Steve said something about, "Don't give me chocolate bars and talk nonsense." Um, I said Joey would have been sitting on his ass eating a chocolate bar. I mean, Steve said, "Let me ask you a question. When you bury somebody, do you bury them with a hockey mask and a machete?" Okay, so that's a little background on this little gem. There's probably only two more in existence other than the ones we gave to people, and I can't remember how many we gave out actually. Um, but it's been, yeah, it's been so long ago when we did that, that it was early in our relationship and stuff, and I can't even remember the exact year. I don't know if it was like 2010, 2011, something like that. And now we're into 2023, so, or 2023, whatever you want to call it. So, thank you, Blissful. Blissful, you say, I love the creativity. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I actually converted the file from a VOB taken off of the DVD and converted it to an MPEG 4 so that I could add it as a video on here and wouldn't have to worry about, excuse me, sharing the screen and all that and worrying about the audio and all that. So, again, before I start playing this, if anybody notices the stream stops at any point in time, please let me know because I may have to cut this off early because I don't want to jeopardize the stream. It's not really about the monetization or anything. It's just that I don't want this stream to get cut off and you guys not get to hear me talk about the movies that I had ready. So if anybody notices that the stream gets cut off, please let me know so I can stop this. And unfortunately, if that happens, we probably won't be able to go back to it. And also keep in mind that at the part where the ZZ Top music is playing in the background, I'm going to have to mute the audio. So here we go.
Okay, so in the summer of 1992, I decided that I would take a week off from my work at the local Walmart and basically videotape or dupe the the 8 Friday the 13th films. Now, why I did this, I have no idea, but I did. And I decided to videotape using our big camcorder that my mom bought. Little bitty like introductions and so on. So this is what I did. So as I watch back almost 20 years later, it's a little funny and a little disturbing, but this is what I did with the help of my buddy Mike, and these were meant for my buddy Jeff. So I decided I was going to do some things, and I was going to do this for him. So I would like to apologize to both Betsy Palmer and Adrian King for my ignorant comments. This is before I met them, and I was just a dumb drunk guy back in them days. So also, please forgive me for appearing to be a total idiot with my hat on and a very slim ponytail. So hope you get some kind of kick out of this. Enjoy.
Hey, low light. What that means, don't you, Jeffrey? Sit back and relax as we go through this bullshit together. Here's the statistics for this movie. Okay, 4 people had sex, or after they had
I
sex. I
apologize for how dark Steve's room was at this point
just
in
got
time. You
killed
could
was one
barely
hitchhiker
see
and
him.
4 additional people, including my boy Steve, who just got no reason. He just said, "Hey, how you doing?" Okay, I know this movie sucked. Jason wasn't in it, but what the hell, you know what I'm saying? You're getting this for free anyway. I just want you to see this one thing, and I'll have Mike pause it while I go find it. Pause. Pause.
Hey, you guys. You ready to get back to work?
Look at the crotch area of this girl. Oh! What was that? Fine.
Huh?
That's fine. It's rolling.
Action.
Jeff, it's recording anyway.
Okay.
It was part 2, Jeff. You know, Jason is in this, but he ain't got his hockey mask. He's got kind of like a potato bag or something on his head. Remember her? She's a stupid bitch from the first one that didn't get killed. Well, he's about to fix that. But she's dreaming about that shit. Like, look at her. Hi, I'm Mrs. Voorhees.
Well, I'm Mrs. Voorhees.
She's Mrs. Voorhees.
The Christies.
She's friends with the Kriskies.
No, they're all dead. They're all dead.
Of course they are, honey.
Please don't leave me. They'll kill you too. I'm not afraid.
I'm not afraid.
She's not afraid.
Did you know the little boy drowned the year before those 2 others were killed? The counselors weren't paying any attention.
They were
making
fucking
love
on the
while
pier.
little boy drowned.
Yes,
They
that
were making
is a
love around sex.
ponytail, Darren.
Jason,
His name was Jason.
His name was Luca.
I was working the day
They call him Jason.
preparing meals.
That is his real name.
I was the cook.
And he died on the lake.
Every minute, he was.
Masturbating.
He wasn't a very good swimmer.
He was my biologically incorrect son.
We can go now.
Go now.
Okay, go away now. She's coming.
It's her period.
Oh.
Sweet
Oh, sweet.
Jason. My only child.
No wonder.
He was drunk.
Jason was drunk. On that pot, man. Give me some of that nasal dust, man.
Look what you did to
Don't kill her. She's not even matured her breast enough. Oh! That felt great.
We seen this in the last movie, didn't we? We're the. Here we go.
Rabbit.
PJ, you say if this
Oh,
was
yes.
Mystery
Slow
Science
motion.
Theater,
Slow
it would
motion,
never
slow motion
become
cam.
popular.
How many cursor are we on?
It's a head cut cam. She looked
Okay, I think we should go back to the movie now. What do you say?
I say so.
Yeah. See you at the end of the movie. Like that, Jeff.
Want me to record it?
No, that's fine. You know. Okay, what's the stats on this movie? 8 people. That sucks, don't it? 2 people got killed having sex, and the other 6 just got killed. What's that guy's name that didn't get killed? Paul. What's his name?
Yeah.
Paul. He didn't get killed, did he?
No.
Who knows? I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. I'm just drinking a couple Bush. This is part 3. It's 3D. I guess. We'll find out. I'm getting ready to hit the play button. See you after this movie, Jeff. Ronnie Franklin Jr. Okay, the stats from this last movie were the best so far. How many breasts did we see?
One, I think. Really one.
Okay, got 12 people killed. That's the most out of any so far. You should be proud. Okay, look at it. Ronnie Wilcoxon looking like. How you like that? Zoom out. Zoom.
We're zoomed in.
Zoom on that lover. Okay, we got one more movie on this table. I'm trying to make it out. It's, you know what it's for. Got a little Corey film. Okay. Can you hear this? I don't know if you can hear it or not.
Okay. So this is where I have to mute it for a little bit because we don't want YouTube or anybody else picking up on the ZZ Top. Um, so you would just merely have to. Steve was talking about the twins and their amazing breast. So you're missing that audio. And you're going to see, much younger Steve here. He was basically taking the camera around his room here. And evidently, at one part, you're going to see Steve's sister, Debbie. Um, and evidently, Steve had recorded over a home video. It's a wonder he didn't get in trouble for doing that. You want to know what year this is from, TJ? I think it was early 90s. I think that's what Steve said in the intro. Exactly, Darren. Steve was an innovator. YouTube marathon before YouTube. I remember the first time I watched these clips when Steve gave me the clips to go through and put on the disc. I remember saying, I always have thought Steve's good looking to me. Um, I don't care if he's good looking to anybody else. I don't want any other women to think he's good looking. I don't want anybody looking at my man. But right here, I was like, man, I'm dating this guy, and he would probably laugh and be embarrassed if he knew how sexy I thought he looked here. Um, There's the clip of Debbie real fast. I don't know why Steve decided to record over family
No, I
video.
lied. Okay, this is the end. I mean
All
it this
right.
time. Yeah, right.
So the ZZ Top music is over, so I can turn the audio back on.
Don't ask me what happened in this movie. I don't know. I'm still homicidal after all these beers. Hey, look at girl's tits and a wet t-shirt. Whatever the hell it was. I need him. Okay, it's part 6. Jason gets better. I mean, Tommy gets better or something like that because he's the hero of the movie. There's no nudity, no real big blood scenes or anything, so it really sucks. But just you get to look forward to part 7. Of course, we all agree that is the best. Melrose Place. The show that you
TJ, you say Steve
don't
could
want
have
to watch.
replaced Honey on
You have no
Jumbo.
choice now.
Either don't love you enough,
Why
or they
he
love
watched Melrose
When you
Place, I
tell me
don't know.
about
How
Nice
many of
black
you guys
chick.
watch Melrose
There she
Place?
is.
Oh, yeah,
Mrs.
Carol.
Sexuality.
First day sugar, my stomach somersault. Have a look.
This
The
wasn't
night
Friday the
before he
13th
killed.
stuff, mind you. This was
Actually, I
just
think you're
Steve
gonna make a
messing
wonderful
around.
bloody corpse. After all, that's your best color, right?
Whoa, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't like
Hey,
anybody to say
kind of cool,
that,
wasn't it?
but yeah, they do look a lot alike.
Okay. You might notice that Mike's not here anymore. I had to kill him. Okay, here comes the best of the Friday the 13th, part 7. Man, you saw this, remember? I guess. I don't know. Well, here we go. Hey, me. Whoa, big head. Uh, this is all of them. This is part 9 they're making right now, so hope to see you soon. Bye.
All right, and that's all she wrote on the clips of Steve and his Friday the 13th marathon that he did for his friend Jeff. Um, let's see. Bliss, will you say I watched Mystery Science Theater Squirm a little while ago, one of my favorites. TJ, you say I watched Melrose off and on as a kid. Yeah, I could maybe understand that, but Steve was, you know, he was a little bit older than what you would call a kid, so but why ask why, I guess. I just like to tease him about watching Melrose Place and Beverly Hills 90210 and all that stuff. So, um, before I get started, and I'm not going to wait too long, but Darren, you say, I wish I had something like this back in the day. Always good to have memories on tape. Yes, it is. And I'm glad that we were able to preserve this stuff on a disc because who knows how long those VHS tapes will last. I mean, Steve's, had them for a ton of years. But, I'm glad that, we have it in this format now in case something were to happen to those VHS tapes. Um, so, if anybody wants to come live on the stream at any point in time, you are very welcome to. Um, I can put the link back in the chat if need be. I have got it starred right now. And TJ, I know that you did say baby Steve. Yeah, exactly. So anybody can join at any point in time. I am going to be only covering 5 films because, sometimes I go on 3 or 4 hours with 5 films. So any point in time, any of you guys in the chat want to come in live on the stream, feel free to click on the link if you need me to add it back in there. If it gets lost in the chat, I will be happy to do so. And I'm going to give, maybe to 8:37, then I'm going to get started talking about these lovely movies. And we are going to be talking about The Burning and Madman both tonight. I had a couple of other movies that I initially had in the stack, but then I was going through them and I was like, yeah, I guess that would be a stretch to say they're summer camp slashers. So I ended up replacing those two with Just Before Dawn, which I did a watch along for, and Madman. So going to be talking about both Burning and Madman on this particular stream. So it is now 8:37. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the first one, which is The Burning. And I'll just tell you the 5 that we're going to do tonight. The Burning, Don't Go in the Woods Alone, The Final Terror, Just Before Dawn, and Madman. Now, The Final Terror, you might think is a stretch, but they are camping. Just Before Dawn, the same thing, and possibly Don't Go in the Woods Alone, or simply Don't Go in the Woods. Um, so I'm not sure how many more of these I will have. Maybe one, possibly 2 more in this series. I've got to finish looking at the rest of my movies. And in the meantime, if you guys think of some that I have not mentioned, feel free to throw those out there. I am going to talk about Twitch of the Death Nerve, aka Bay of Blood, because Dirk so nicely reminded me that essentially was the movie that started this, whole big, summer camp type of slasher, that formula. to those films. So whether you agree or disagree on that, I definitely want to include that one. Yes, Cannibal Campout. I do have that one, TJ. I'll need to definitely include that. It is bad, cheesy fun. Actually, several years ago, Steve and I did a commentary for that one. Um, so, I'm going to go ahead and get started talking about The Burning. And I'm supposed to be getting a 4K of this one a little bit later. I think in July, I'm getting the 4K of The Burning. Anyways, this is a Blu ray from a company that not a lot of people like much anymore, and that's Scream Factory. Um, I always, even though I like Madman, I prefer this film. And CK and I always disagree on which is a better movie, better horror movie, The Burning or Madman. Basically, what CK tells me about The Burning is it's only got the raft scene. That's all it's got going for it. And that he says Madman has so much more to it. Now, some of you may agree with that, some of you may disagree with that. Uh, Gory Tiger said The Burning sounds like someone got the clap. Yeah, I guess you could look at it that way. Um, so what is The Burning anyway? If somebody had never heard of The Burning, I'm going to give a little plot synopsis breakdown real quick here. So, a group of summer camp pranksters get to the scare of their lives when they target the camp's creepy caretaker, and he takes bloody revenge. After a cruel joke goes awry, severely burning him and subjecting him to 5 years of intensive, unsuccessful skin graft treatments, Cropsey, played by Lou David, is back at camp and ready to wreak havoc on those who scarred him. With his hedge clippers in hand, he terrorizes the camp and systematically mutilates each victim. Can a few courageous campers save themselves and destroy this demented madman before he kills them all? Starring Brian Matthews, Leah Ayres from Bloodsport, Brian Backer from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Larry Joshua, Dances with Wolves, and featuring early film appearances by Fisher Stevens of Short Circuit, Jason Alexander of Seinfeld, and Holly Hunter of Raising Arizona. The Burning is a grim and nasty movie that gets under your skin. So, I know when Uncle Bill was on here with me for the first of these summer camp slashers streams, he was talking about, I believe that was the one where he was talking about Jason Alexander and how he just cannot stand Jason Alexander in this movie. And that Jason Alexander's going bald and all of that. But there really wasn't anybody I actively disliked except for the character of Glazer, um, played by Larry Joshua. Um, but you weren't supposed to like him. But the main people, I mean, I found them fairly likable. It was fun to see people like Holly Hunter, Fisher Stevens, even Jason Alexander for me. Um, like I said, that the most of the characters in this movie I could get behind. Didn't really want any harm to come to them. Um, and a lot of them I felt, empathy when their characters died in the movie. Good ones, Darren. You say Cheerleader Camp, Fear Street 1984, Savage Weekend, Midnight, Slaughterhouse, if you're counting backwoods slashers. I mean, we certainly could. Or I could do a separate stream on kind of like backwoods slashers. I'm sure I could dig up plenty. There's loads more. I like All the Boys Love Mandy Lane too. Darren, I think you mentioned that before. I need to watch All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. I really do. Because, at one time I heard a lot about that movie. Darren, thank you for saying The Burning is a top 3 slasher for me. Uh, TJ's the answer, man. And that's probably, I'm betting that's what Darren meant. Fear Street 1978 was the camp slasher. Yeah, I do that too, though. I'll be reading off lists of things or thinking of lists off the top of my head, and sometimes I'll get them wrong. Yes, TJ. Mother's Day 1980 is a camping backwoods revenge all in one. And you guys, thank you guys for this too, because I'm always wanting to come up with new, hopefully unique streams to do. And I think, instead of maybe having some of these things in the summer camp slashers, if I do a backwoods slashers, that'll be a whole separate thing. And I think that would be cool to do. So, Darren, TJ, thank you for planting that seed in my brain. Um, yeah, Mother's Day, it's a little bit hard for me to watch just because of how sadistic those guys are in it. But other than that, yeah, great film. If if you like horror. So, yeah, the basic story again is Cropsy's the caretaker at camp. In the opening scenes, the kids are getting tired of him kind of like picking on them and scaring them and doing all kinds of things. So they set up this little prank where they take a fake skull, light candles in it, set it on Cropsy's bedside table, then go back outside and start knocking on the window, making noises. And when Cropsy wakes up, he sees the skull, panics, and ends up knocking it over onto himself, catches himself on fire. That is how he gets severely burned. And so, again, like I say, I'm going to spoil these things. So, if you have not seen any of these that I'm going to talk about tonight, you may want to walk away for a little bit when I start talking about the end, which I think I will talk about that real quick. So if anybody needs to step away, I'll give you 30 seconds or so, and then I'll start talking about this. Okay. So I hope you got out of the way or out of earshot. But we find out near the end of the movie that Todd, one of the head counselors, was actually one of the boys that played the prank on Cropsy years and years ago. And essentially, I mean, Cropsy is so crazed by that time that he'll kill anybody that gets in his path. But I think essentially he's after Todd. Ultimately, that's who he wants to kill because Todd was part of the group of boys that led to him being horribly burned. TJ, you say Prophecy is a stretch, but it takes place in the woods and has an epic camping scene. I'm going to need to go back and watch that one because I think I've seen Prophecy. It's just been a while. Okay. So once you get, that setup with the caretaker, Cropsy, and all of that, and the prank gone wrong, we've seen that a million times, right? In different movies. So, yes, I'm not going to say that this movie's not formulaic, but in many ways, Madman is also formulaic. I mean, CK always says, what's the burning got except the raft scene? Well, essentially, what does Madman have other than a pretty cool backstory about Madman Mars? And, the goofy hot tub scene and a few other things that we can laugh at along the way. Um, and I guess, Madman Mars is a pretty cool killer. But other than that, there's not really anything that's wildly different than what's offered in The Burning, in my opinion. And again, that doesn't mean I don't like Madman. I do like Madman. It's just I like The Burning better. Yeah, Darren, Memorial Valley Massacre, Shallow Grave. I'll have to check out Shallow Grave. You just picked that one up. Um, so we go to this new group of can't even talk counselors. And it's typical camp hijinks. You could almost imagine before the bad stuff starts to happen at the camp that this is kind of like a meatballs sort of film, because you have, the typical, like I said, hijinks that go on at a summer camp. Okay. And for any of you that ever went to summer camp or went to 4-H camp or anything like that, you're probably all too familiar with the goings on at these camp scenes. Now, however, I hope that there was not a lot of sexual activity going on when you guys were youngins going to summer camp or 4-H camp or whatever. Um, because um, you got counselors getting naked and going skinny dipping and basically full frontal stuff and things like that on the woman, of course. um, and then you have two counselors that end up going at it in the woods at some point in time and getting killed afterwards. So Um, I think a lot of people think that this movie doesn't really have a lot other than the effects work, which, in my opinion, was masterfully done by Tom Savini. Now, when I first saw this movie, I thought, oh my gosh, these special effects are just fantastic. In later years, uh, after numerous rewatchings of this, I noticed things like in the raft scene when Woodstock gets his fingers cut off. You clearly tell the hand is fake, and he's holding it up like this and going, oh, and you can clearly tell that part is fake. Um, but most of the death scenes in this, I think, are really, really well done, in my opinion. I think Tom Savini hit it out of the ballpark with this one. And yes, he did turn Friday the 13th Part 2 down to do The Burning. Not gonna lie. I mean, that's been out there for years, that little bit of information. And Darren, you say Rituals is a decent Deliverance ripoff too. I could go on with slashers. That's okay, Darren. Keep throwing them out there because that gives me more and more that I can pull off my shelf and talk about. Okay, so in my opinion, you have pretty cool kills in this movie. Um, Now the cut version, which I saw originally, uh, was actually bloody enough for me. But, when you find out that there's an uncut version floating around somewhere, and the story was about one version of the movie that was uncut, was that at one time, Amazon was selling copies of The Burning on VHS. And I think they had rated R on there, but the word got around that those copies that they were selling were the uncut ones. So when I first saw this movie, I rented it from Video Vault. And this was a movie that I passed over many, many times because the VHS cover is not outstanding. Somebody didn't do a good job with that marketing campaign on that. I mean, now we've got stuff like this. It's obviously going to catch people's eye. But let me show you this here. And this wasn't even as bright on the VHS cover as it is here on the Blu-ray. But that was basically the VHS cover. Only the VHS cover was very, very light. You could barely see Cropsey in the shears, the shadow of that going up over the camp. So basically, what you saw was the couple in the lake making out with the burning title under it. So it was very, very easy to overlook, in my opinion. Um, and so hence that's what I did. But then the more times that I went to Video Vault and would get the 7 movies for 7 nights for $7, you start to, the horror movies start to become few and far between after a while of doing that. So it got down to the nitty gritty, so to speak. So that was when I really started paying attention to some of these that didn't jump out at me the first few times. And the burning was one of those. And so I just happened to pick up the VHS, flip it over, was reading the back, the plot synopsis, and I was like, this sounds like this is right up my alley. Hence, I rented it and took it home to watch it, and I was amazed. And keep in mind, this was the cut version. So then when I found out there was an uncut version, I sought it out. And then, of course, we had the DVD that came out that was uncut. Then we had the Blu-ray that came out was uncut. Now we're going to have the 4K. And then you say Savini's best work was in The Prowler, in my opinion. That was excellent work in The Prowler. I agree, Darren. Hey, Kentucky, you say, I think the raft scene works more so because of the editing than the effects. It's so well done. I would agree with that too. A lot of quick cuts that, with the exception of Woodstock's hand, don't really allow you to focus on too much. So I agree with that. Oh, Moonstalker. Moonstalker is a fun one, Darren. That is a fun one. I need to find the commentary that Steve and I did on that one a while back, because I want to put all these commentaries on my channel, albeit I won't be able to put the movie on there. But I can have like maybe a still photo, and then, you can always, if you own the movie, you can always get it synced up and then watch it on your own and listen to the commentary that we did. But yeah, I need to add Moonstalker to one of my lists, because I'm glad you brought that one up, because I had totally forgotten about that one. It's been a while since I watched The Prey from 1983, Darren, but if I remember clearly, I enjoyed it. It's another one that I need to go back and rewatch, actually. Kentucky says The Prey is great. It's a slow burn, but I like it. So, let's see. Darren, you said last one I highly recommend is a UK film, Severance from 2006. I'm going to have to hunt that one up too, Darren. Who knows? Steve may have it somewhere. So, guys, we do still have 13 people in here, but unless I actually have somebody come on and any point in time. I'm not going to go on too awfully long about each one of these, just because if I don't have somebody to bounce things off of, I'm just going to start to ramble, and nobody wants that. So, um, until or unless somebody comes on, I'm not going to go through these super fast, but I'm going to go through them pretty steadily. So, would I recommend The Burning? Well, heck yeah, I'd recommend The Burning to anybody. Um, Definitely a top slasher film for me. I realize that, it's basically formulaic of Friday the 13th and stuff like that. I totally get that. Um, but I still find it fun. The effects are great. As Kentucky said, things like the raft scene work well because the editing was great. And like I said, those quick cuts during the raft scene, and even the quick cuts during some of the other kill scenes, um, where you're not like you're like, did I just see what I thought I saw and all that? And especially if you're watching the uncut version, which if you have these newer versions, you're definitely going to have the ability to watch it uncut. Um, there is one funny thing, and I don't know how many of you noticed it. Probably several of you noticed it, especially if you watch The Burning more than once. And something that always makes me laugh every time. So when Karen is killed out in the woods, and very viciously killed, I might add, there's a scene later in the film where Todd and Alfred, well, actually, Todd goes into like a mine shaft or something to find Alfred, who's unfortunately been kidnapped by Cropsey. I was never really sure why he just, unless he was just trying to lure Todd there so he could kill him or kill them both. That was more than likely the case. So while Todd is in the mine shaft, kind of looking around and stuff, he discovers what's supposed to be Karen's body in the mine shaft. However, if you if you're really paying attention, you will notice that is merely just a still photo of Karen from her death scene, or a still shot of her from her death scene. I just the lighting and everything is all mismatched, and it's clearly just like they took a freeze frame of her death scene and just stuck it in there as her dead body. Now, I don't know if they did that because when they filmed that part, maybe the girl that played Karen had already went home and they couldn't use her for any more shots and they had to do it that way. But I just always find that ultimately hilarious. So that's The Burning. Again, I highly recommend it. Actually do a double feature with this and Madman, which I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. And, see, you might like both of them the same. You might like Madman better. You might like The Burning better. You might not like either one of them, is a possibility. But in my opinion, this is a worthy slasher. Definitely a good summer camp slasher, and one that I can watch any time of the year. I don't have to wait for summertime to watch it. Yes, TJ, you say it's a video game, but The Quarry is a pretty good as a slasher summer camp horror. Actually, Steve does have that game. It's a pretty cool game too. Darren, you say I thought you was going to mention Woodstock's balls. No, I'll leave that to the imagination, Darren. Um, so anyway, moving on to the next one, and basically I pulled these off in alphabetical order off my shelf, so they're not in order by anything other than alphabetical order. So the next one is Don't Go in the Woods or Don't Go in the Woods Alone. I was never really sure what the exact title was, if it was just supposed to be Don't Go in the Woods or Don't Go in the Woods dot 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 alone. So I kind of sound like the rapist, and oh, that's gruesome. I sound like the guy that ends up raping the girl in Are You in the House Alone? That's because my voice is kind of trying to go in and out because, of course, we got bad air quality again, and it's just playing havoc with my sinuses and allergies and all that. Okay, so is Don't Go in the Woods a great film? No, it is not. It is not. But it's fun. It's kooky. It's silly. It's got a totally outrageous looking killer in this. Um, and definitely not politically correct in any way, shape, or form. But guys, this came out in 81. So, I guess people weren't really into being politically correct at that time. That would come much, much later. This is directed by James. Is it James Bryan? Yeah, produced and directed by James Bryan. So, what is Don't Go in the Woods about? In director James Bryan's 1981 cult classic, and it is indeed considered a cult classic. A group of obnoxious campers venture into the wilderness for what they assume will be a fun-filled weekend. Unknown to them, a bloodthirsty maniac is hiding in the woods, watching their every move and violently killing them, one by one, every chance he gets. Filled with lo-fi gore effects and black humor, Don't Go in the Woods remains one of the quintessential regional slasher films of the early 80s and is coming to Blu-ray for the very first time when it came out, of course. Newly restored in 2K from the 35 millimeter, interposited and loaded with extras. Um, yeah, I don't know if I saw this prior to Dead Pit talking about it, but definitely, I'm sure Dead Pit got a lot of people into Don't Go in the Woods, and it is great in such a bad way. It's one of those that's so bad it's good. I mean, it's in that category. And let's talk about some of these campers in here. The main ones that we see a lot of. I'm not meaning to talk about anybody's looks, guys and gals, because I am in no way, shape, or form the best looking person around. So I really shouldn't be talking about these gals in the movie. But the main campers in the movie, those two girls are some of the oddest looking girls um, in any horror film I believe I've ever seen. They're not ugly; they're just odd looking. Um, and I don't believe either one of them gets naked, but I don't think that guys would. Well, maybe they would, but I don't think guys would want to see them naked. Um, but obnoxious they most certainly are. The stuff they do to each other uh, over over the course of I guess a day at night before the bad things start happening to them. Um, and you know, I'm not I'm not saying this to be offensive to these girls either, but these girls seemed to me, I mean, it seemed like within the film that they were attracted to guys and guys were attracted to them. However, they seemed almost like they would better be suited to be together rather than be with guys. But what do I know? That's just how it appeared to me. Kentucky, you say, I think everyone should see it once, but that's enough. Darren, you say, that one looks like Richie Cunningham from Happy Days. Yeah, she kind of does. I know which one you're talking about too. So yeah, this is a fun, a very bad movie, but a fun movie too. And so those kind are okay to watch. Um, but the ones that are just bad and that's all there is to it, they don't. This one does have a lot of black humor in it, or dark humor, I should say, and the killer, like I said, is just so outrageous and so off the wall that I just couldn't help enjoying this. And I actually went back and quickly kind of ran through this because it'd been a while since I actually sat down and watched it, to get a better handle on it before I was going to talk about it tonight. Um, and it's only 82 minutes. I mean, Reggie, come on now. Sorry, guys and gals. Reggie thinking he wants to go out, but I know what he'll do if he goes out. He'll try to attack the fence if that dog's on the other side of it. Won't you, Reggie? You want to say hello to everybody? Hmm? What do you want? What do you want? He's wanting me to pet him. What do you want, buddy? Oh my goodness. There's my boy. Say hello, Reggie. Are you camera shy? Want to say hello? All right. Go over there and be good now. Anyways, back to Don't Go in the Woods. Um, so yeah, I would recommend it. Oh, thank you, Blissful. Blissful says you're gorgeous, Reggie. You like that attention, don't you? So this is another one that I would definitely recommend. And if somebody is looking for uh, just a crazy, so bad it's good slasher, and they've never seen this one, I would definitely point them in the direction of Don't Go in the Woods. Um, hold on, guys. Let me. He's just going to keep scratching at the door if I don't let him out. Won't you, Reggie? Just hope he doesn't get wild out there. And, uh, so, anyway, I don't know what else I can say about Don't Go in the Woods, other than if you've never seen it and you can find a for free version. I don't know if it's on Tubi. Does anybody know if this is on Tubi or not? It seems that almost everything else is, so it's entirely possible, or maybe YouTube or something. So if you don't own a copy and you want to give this one a try, I would say to try to find a for free version to watch. This is actually the Vinegar Syndrome release, and Steve gave me this because he, funnily enough, he ended up buying an extra copy, and so he gave me his old copy. So Kentucky, you say you think it's on Tubi, so that would be a great, way for somebody to get an introduction to Don't Go in the Woods, um, if they hadn't already seen it, didn't already own it, and all of that. Uh, well, thank you, Kentucky, for sharing that. He says it is. Just check. All right. So, um, the next one I want to talk about, is The Final Terror. This is another one that I did a watch along a while back for. This one has Adrian Zemed on it. This one may be also one that people think is a stretch. They may say, you're stretching a little bit thin, Dana, with the summer camp slashers theme and having The Final Terror in here. However, they are camping, and they are camping out in the woods. Okay. not a summer camp per se, but I thought I would include it. Hey, Dirk. Uh, Kentucky, you say you've never seen The Final Terror. This one, I really like this one. Some people don't much care for it. I don't think Steve really likes it. I don't want to tell tales out of school, but it seemed like CK didn't like it, but I'm not 100% sure on that. that's that's right, Blissful. How dare he wear a shirt? I assume you're talking about Adrian Zemed. Um, so, um, so not only is Adrian Zemed on this little gem, in my opinion, but Mark Metcalf, who plays Niedermeyer on Animal House, is on this. Daryl Hannah is on this. Joey Pants, Joe Pantalano, is also on this as a really crazy, outrageous character. So, what is the Final Terror about? If you haven't already seen it, a group of young campers out for what they hope will be a fun-filled weekend find their plans spoiled by a disguised, merciless killer who stalks the forest in search of new victims. Soon they are caught in a terrifying web of bloodshed and murder. It's up to the remaining few to defend themselves and put an end to the terror-filled weekend. Oh, Rachel Ward is on this too, by the way, featuring a great cast including Rachel Ward, Daryl Hannah, Adrian Zemed, Mark Metcalf, Lewis Smith from Django Unchained, and Joe Pantalano, The Matrix and The Fugitive, and many, many other movies. And directed by Andrew Davis, who did The Fugitive and Under Siege. This pulse pounding film is the final word in Backwoods Horror. This is another Scream Factory release. And basically, Joey Pants in this movie is the bus driver that's taking these young people on this camping trip. And it's obvious from the first time you see Edgar that he's got a few screws loose. And of course, the guys, try to, mess around with him and stuff like that. And he vows that he's going to take them out there in the woods and leave them out there. He, for whatever reason, tries to get them to go somewhere other than where they had planned. Now, gonna give away a spoiler here, okay, guys and gals. The spoiler is this: that Edgar has been keeping his crazy mama. He took her out of the mental hospital years ago. They kind of tell this story, but they don't know it's Edgar. That's the son of the crazy woman. Okay. So Edgar got his mother out of the asylum or mental hospital and took her to this dilapidated cabin in the woods, and he's been keeping her there. He steals cans of food from his job to take to her. And so where these campers are planning to go is where he's got his mama stowed away. And he doesn't want her to be discovered. So they go anyway, and slowly they end up being killed off by Edgar's mother. And Edgar, like I said, has also got a few screws loose. So, they not only have to worry about his mother, but they have to worry about him as well. Darren, you said this was shelved for a few years like TCM The Next Generation until a few of the stars became famous. Yeah, TJ, The Forest was one that I had pulled out originally, but then I didn't know if, and I may go back and talk about it, but here's the thing about The Forest. I have never been able to get through that movie. I ended up buying it because, CK talks about it all the time. And I keep falling asleep while trying to watch it. So um, I need to give it another try again real soon. Darky said, I'm watching Nine Guests for a Crime. Good old Jallo with the perfect amount of sleaze. I need to ask Steve if he's seen that one. That sounds like that'd be right up his alley. Excuse me. Darren says, that one's bad, TJ. TJ says, oh, I know, Darren, LOL. Uh, Turk says, the forest is great, Darren. Childhood nostalgia is a motherfucker. It certainly is, Dirk. Oh, thank you, Blissful. That damn air quality getting bad and all the pollution stuff just plays havoc with me. Um, so I wouldn't say that the Final Terror has any really like super unique kills or anything like that. Most of it's pretty standard slasher movie type of stuff. But is this one fun? Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. And as me and Blissful like to talk about Adrian's and Med, you could talk about Adrian's and Med all through the movie. Because pretty much Adrian's and Med is all in this movie. And he may, I'm don't hold me to this, Blissful, but he may have his shirt off in one scene laying on the bed before they leave out for camp. So, yeah, I'm going to have to take a look at that. I wouldn't mind seeing a little Adrian's and Med chest as well. So, not the best of its kind, definitely not the worst. And one of my personal favorites, it's a go to if I want to just zone out for a little bit. Let's say I've had a really shitty day and I just want to watch something horror related, slasher related that I don't really have to put much thought into. This certainly fits the bill. It's fun. It's, you know, just the right amount of gory. I wouldn't say it's overly gory. Um, Hits most of those slasher movie bases, I think. And this was another one that I didn't know about until later in life. Like I watched it before Steve and I got together, but um, I didn't watch it. Oh my goodness. I did not watch it like in the early like video rental days. Um, Darren, you say, I've always liked Final Terror. The ending is great. The ending is fantastic, Darren. I do agree with that. TJ, you say, I've given House by the Cemetery 6 tries and have always fallen asleep. Um, Please, will you say, okay, I'll wear a dribble bib for that scene. Darren says you're missing out, TJ. Blissful says, TJ, you've never gotten to the end of the movie. Okay, so we're on the last two. And Just Before Dawn, as I said, was one that I just recently did a watch along for. The cover's not, I don't really like this cover. The poster art for Just Before Dawn, like some of the old poster art, looks a lot better than this, but beggars can't be choosers, right? But this was referred to as one of the most intense and chilling backwoods slashers ever made, which essentially I could have saved this for the backwoods slashers. However, I'm going to include it here because they are camping. May not really consider it a summer camp, but, and I'm stretching it a little thin there. I know that, guys. But this one is another fun one. This was one that I saw later in life too. And I was like, how in the hell did I miss this thing? Because I think it's great. I think the setups are great. I think the kills are great in it. Um, you got George Kennedy in this. You got Greg Henry, Jamie Rose, Chris Lemon. Um, just just a very simple premise, but an amazing film nonetheless. TJ says, I've seen it all, just not in one sitting, guys. Whistle says the installment watch. Dougie say, it's so damn hot here. I saw two meth heads putting the copper back in the AC. Oh my gosh. Yeah, like down south, it's really miserably hot. I mean, it's warm here, but I don't think it's anything like what you guys are experiencing. Darren, you say Just For Dawn really is one of the best underrated slashers, period. Yeah, and it really is underrated. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, guys and gals, but even now, I don't hear a lot of people talk about this movie. And maybe it's just because, word hasn't got around a lot about it, about how great it is. Oh, and by the way, Mike Kellen from Sleepaway Camp is also on here as well, in a small part. So, what is this film about? In case you weren't there for the watch along or haven't heard me talk about this movie before. So, five friends set out for a weekend camping excursion to drink, frolic, and skinny dip on an isolated piece of land one of them has inherited. Despite ominous warnings, and in these camp slashers and or summer camp slashers and backwoods slashers, they always get the warnings and they don't pay attention, do they? From locals, including a forest ranger, Roy McLean, played by George Kennedy, and Ty, Mike Kellen of Sleepaway Camp, a hollering drunken hunter claiming to have witnessed his friend's evisceration by the hands of demons. The friends trek further into the foliage. Co-starring Greg Henry, Mean Dog Blues, Rich Man, Poor Man, Deborah Benson, September 30th, 1955, Jamie Rose, TV's Lady Blue, Chris Lemon, TV's Thunder in Paradise, and by the way, I almost forgot about Ralph Seymour, who played Vivica's boyfriend on Killer Party. He was also in Underground Aces. Extremely eerie and beautifully shot with a horrifying twist that will make you wonder if any of the friends will survive those dark hours just before dawn. So here's one of the twists of the movie, or the big twist in the movie, is that there are two killers. There are actually twin brothers doing the killing. And this explains a lot when you realize there are twins, of how, you would probably get to thinking, how did this one big guy like end up in multiple spots so quickly? Okay. And he's not a Jason, he's not a Michael Myers or anything like that. Um, but we do find out that there are twins that are doing the killings in this movie. There's an amazing scene on a rope bridge um, that many of you that were in the watch along got to, if you were watching along with the film, you got to see that. Let's what you say. I'd love that illustration on a T-shirt. Cool. Yes, Darren, this is the Code Red Blu-ray, by the way. Good idea, Dirk. Dirk says, Blissful, check out Redbubble for obscure shirts. They have a ton. So, again, another one that I would highly recommend. Um, I'm not going to go on and on about this one, mainly just because I did a watch along for it. And if you guys want to go through the entire film and weren't there for the watch along, I had to edit the video a little bit, so it's not showing up in the lives, but it's showing up on my videos. If you want to see it and you didn't get to be there on the night that I did the watch along for this, then it is still on my channel. Darren, you said the 88 Films UK release is out of print. I'm guessing if this got an hour release, it would be more popular. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be awesome. That's what you say, Dirk. I get in so much trouble when I go there. I need supervision. Okay. So the final movie for tonight's stream is one that CK champions. And he has championed for years. And that is Madman. And yes, I do have the 4K of Madman because I don't hate it. I like this movie. I just merely say that The Burning, in my opinion, is a better film. So I like that artwork. It's simple, but it really, really works because you have the shadow of Madman Mars there with the axe. And then you have Madman in that great font in red. Then just above the Madman title, you have that little tagline, they thought they were alone. No, Dirk, I don't believe I've ever seen Fuck the Devil and Fuck the Devil 2 Return of the Fucker. Where on earth do you watch that or watch those movies? I would actually be interested in checking them out. So, for those of you not in the know about the plot of Madman, I'll give you a little quick and dirty rundown. So, many terrifying legends are shared around campfires, but very few of them are true. That's what teenage Richie thought about the story of Madman Mars, a hulking brute who, as the story goes, murdered his entire family decades earlier and who can be summoned from the dead by calling his name. Unfortunately for Richie and his fellow teenage summer camp counselors, the legend is very true, and Madman Mars is back, freshly sharpened axe in hand, to continue the killing spree he began many years ago. One of the quintessential and iconic early 80s slashers, Joe Gioni's, I'm probably massacring that poor guy's name, Madman piles on scares, suspense, and plenty of gory kills. Starring Galen Ross, Dawn of the Dead, and featuring colorful photography by James Lemo, who also did Miss 45. Vinegar Syndrome was proud to present the ultimate Madman experience on UHD for the first time from a brand new 4K restoration of the 35mm original camera negative and featuring hours of extras, including interviews and commentaries with nearly every surviving cast and crew member. And believe it or not, Paul Ehlers, who played Madman Mars, is still with us, as far as I know. Now, the guy that played TP in the movie, he has passed away. And I know they had a memorial or in memoriam featurette on this disc, but I can't remember who else has died from the movie. Maybe the main head counselor, possibly that guy may have. Darren, you say Madman is the reason I got into Dead Pit. After Googling the film, I came across their interview with Madman himself. The rest is history. See, there's, another person that didn't get into Dead Pit because of the documentary. I've told this story before, and I probably should save it for another Dead Pit Memory show, but heck, I can repeat it again. But how I got into, or how I discovered Dead Pit was, um, I used to be on IMDb a lot, looking at reviews people put and stuff for different movies and things like that. And sometimes I would comment or make my own review and all that. So I don't remember exactly. I mean, maybe it could have been Madman, but I just can't remember what movie I was looking up. But I was looking through the reviews, and at the end of this person's review, they had said, if I'm not on IMDb, then I'm listening to Dead Pit. And I think they had the website address. I was like, I wonder what this Dead Pit is. So I went to deadpit.com, checked it out, and then figured out these guys were from my home state. And I was like, wow, this is, really, really cool. And so that's how I stumbled across Dead Pit. Oh, so Durkee say it's an AGFA release? No, it's not porn. Darren, you say, get it to miss your Dead Pit show with Jay live. Call up the next day, though. Well, I totally get it, Darren. Everybody's not going to be able to be, on all of these when they're live. Um, you know, so many people are, doing their own thing, and I God bless them for it, doing their own thing. Um, and when we do that, we miss out on other things. Like when I'm doing my streams, just like I'm doing one tonight, I could be missing other people that could be live. Um, and probably am, and they're probably doing really good streams. Um, Dirk, he said, before Dead Pit, I had to listen to a bunch of bastards talk about Scream a million times. But growing up, it was Commander USA in the VHS trash horror section. Exactly. So a little bit more about Madman. Basically, it's an urban legend type of story, similar in some respects to The Burning. I wouldn't say an exact replica, but similar. Okay. So they tell the story of Madman Mars, who murdered his family, and then a lynch mob supposedly tried to kill Madman Mars, and he escaped. And the urban legend goes to say that, he's still out there in the woods somewhere, and that you shouldn't say his name above a whisper. And so Richie, the meddlesome teenager, ends up screaming out, "Madman, Madman Mars!" And then Madman Mars comes and takes revenge on the counselors. But let's talk a little bit about some of the crazy scenes in this movie. And I'm not talking about the kill scenes. I'm simply talking about these oddball scenes. One, the hot tub scene with Galen Ross and the guy that played TP, Tony, is it Tony Fish? I think. Um, that is got to be one of the weirdest scenes ever, and very cringy, I think. But everybody always laughs at it, and I think, and CK might say I'm wrong all over the place, and that's okay. But I think probably Dead Pit giving notoriety to that one scene might have made this movie more popular than it would have been had they not championed it and started talking about it, bringing up this outrageous stuff in it. Another scene is it's not really outrageous; it's just odd. The camp counselors are all, one is laying this way, one is laying the other way, one is laying this way, one's laying that way, and they're just laying there on their backs talking to each other. It's just a very bizarre, in my opinion, scene. The kills are decent. I Some of them are interesting, but again, I don't find anything like super outstanding about the kills in the movie. Um, I really think that the notoriety comes from the more people that watched it, the more people that saw things like the hot tub scene, and the look of Madman Mars and all of that, that just culminated in making this, in my opinion, a cult classic. And that's not a bad thing at all. And again, I wouldn't even be talking about this movie if I didn't at least like it. So this was a movie that I knew about prior to Dead Pit. Um, I think how I discovered it was I was reading some horror movie reviews and I came across one for Madman. I was like, this is like this is right up my alley. And so we had these waxwork stores in Owensboro at the time. And they had movies and music. They'd have CDs and stuff like that. Prior to the CDs, they had records. If they were still open now, they'd probably go back to having records again, due to the increased popularity of vinyl now. But they also had movies, and this was in the DVD times, maybe a few VHS. So anyway, I went into Waxwork and asked them if they had this movie Madman. And they said no, but we can order it. And they ordered it for me. In about a week, it came in. And they called me and said, yeah, we have your movie. So I had my dad take me to Owensboro and I picked it up. And, took it home and started watching it. And yeah, of course I enjoyed it. And then, of course, I had fun with it. And So I can't credit Dead Pit for introducing me to Madman because I already knew about Madman prior to listening to their shows. Uh, you are right, TJ. There's always a stream on, Dana. You can't schedule around everyone. Yep, you are exactly right. Darren, you say, sorry to go off topic, but does anyone remember Blood Type Basement podcast with Running and Ed and Canadian Ferox with J Dog and Tony Pepperoni? I remember Canadian Ferox, and I remember a little about Blood Type Basement, Darren. Yeah, actually, I really miss Canadian Ferox because I listened to several of their shows. Oh, Runk. Okay. Runk bloody predict attacks. Oh, man. Bliss, what you say, is this movie going to freak me out from using the hot tub in the winter? I don't know if it'll freak you out, but this is a scene that's got to be seen to be believed. Yeah, exactly, Darren. That song. Dirk, you say, Madman looks like a cat pig man, or is it just me? Yeah, he kind of does. Kind of does. Yeah, I'll show this slip cover again. So, um, that I have officially reached the end of my 5 summer camp slashers. Albeit I know a couple of them were stretches. Um, Maybe 3 of them were stretches. Um, but I will return next Tuesday with another installment of Summer Camp Slashers. I hope you guys will join me for that. We've had a pretty good group in here, anywhere from 13 to 15 or 16 the whole night or the whole time I was doing the stream. But so you say I'm watching that in the summer. LOL. But I do want to thank everybody that joined me for this stream tonight, and I am thankful that my stream didn't get cut off for showing the Steve clips and Friday the 13th stuff. Thank you, Blissful. Blissful says, please hit the thumbs up. Thank you. Yes, Darren, you are perfectly correct in that. Madman was originally going to be about the Cropsey Maniac, but because of the burning, they weren't able to do that. See you later, Gory Tiger. So, is there anything anybody wants to bring up or suggest, or something that you want to hear me review, or a suggestion for a future watch along, any of that stuff? I am open to suggestions. I'll stay on here a few minutes more before I get off here for the night. I can't believe it. I went on less than 2 hours. But the night is young, right? So, again, I hope you guys enjoyed this installment of the Summer Camp Slashers. I love it that you guys are all having your own opinions about these different movies. I was kind of hoping that. Thank you, Darren. Darren says, been a fun one. I was kind of hoping, as I hope every time, that CK and Uncle Bill would make an appearance. However, they must be busy with other things, maybe family stuff. Sorry if you guys hear Reggie. He's having a fit out there. I'm going to have to make him come in soon. So I don't think they had a stream tonight. Like I said, I think they've got an upcoming stream for Thursday for the big summer sale. And thank you, Blissful. Blissful says, great live, Dana. And so I'll probably give it another minute or two, and then I'm going to call it a night. So if anybody wants to suggest anything, any comments, criticism, outright hatred, whatever you want to say before I get off of here for the night. Oh, well, thank you, Darren. At least for my part in it. You said the Deodato stream was great last night. I was telling Uncle Bill, though, after the stream was over, I felt off of my game last night. I felt bad about it, and I apologized to Uncle Bill because I said I didn't feel like I was really. I felt like I was out of it, like zoning out at certain times, and that was not due to the content. It wasn't due to who I was on there with. There had just been some things going on personally that were causing me to be sort of distracted and stuff. I won't go into that. But I'm glad that it seems that several of you got some enjoyment out of it, even though I was feeling like I was spaced out. Oh, Dirk, I would love to come on anytime you want me to. I probably have to delay one of my Saturday watch-alongs, but that's no problem. I can do that. I can pick the topic. Oh man, Dirk, you don't know what you're saying there. Well, let me think on that about what I would want the topic to be. So let me ask you this, Dirk. I mean, I've watched some of these An Hour to Kill, but I'm still not sure. Do you guys just pick a different topic, or do you try to pick it around like Jallos or something like that? Or do you just pick like different different horror topics to talk about. I just wanted to make sure that I was kind of following the format, the way it was designed. Yeah, TJ, that sounds like a great idea. Everyone wear your PJs for Sunday for the massacre. Oh well, Darren, I like I said, I could totally reschedule one of my watch alongs if I was on a time to kill. But thank you for saying absolutely get Dana on. Um, so I'm gonna give it till 9:50, and then I'm gonna officially call it a night. So, oh, see, I'm yawning all over the place. Oh, goodness. Guess I'll probably try to get some more rest. I hadn't been getting a lot of rest. I was just out of sorts last night and didn't sleep very well at all. Darky say this Saturday we're doing Forgotten Jolly, but we're covering Jolly and slashers. Gotcha. Okay. So let me try to come up with a topic, and then of course I'll run it by you because it is your show, and see if that meshes well with the design of the show. And if it doesn't, feel free to tell me, hey, Damon, I don't know about that. So, on that note, guys and gals, I'm going to skedaddle on out of here for the night, and I will see everyone on the flip side. Y'all have a good night now, and I'll see you next time.